Hey everyone, Wanderbot here, and welcome to Rogue Wizards. Now, this is very early alpha. This is a pre-alpha slash press alpha slash development alpha for a Kickstarted game called Rogue Wizards, and I saw it on Steam Greenlight, and I was like, I have to check this out. So, to preface, they're doing a Greenlight campaign. It's still going on, so if you want to check it out, head over there. They're nice. They're nice folks. They were very forthcoming with the email, and they actually, said some nice words about the channel. So, honestly, great first impression across the board. And also, the studio itself is called Spellbind Studios, and this is version 0.1.78, which is, pre-alpha confidential version. So this is early. This is only for press, too. But anyway, it's a roguelike, and I don't know too much about it. I kind of actually kept myself from reading too much of the information. I mostly looked at the art, thought, the gameplay looks fun, and the art looks good, which is usually my two criteria for checking out indie games. And, well, let's hop right in. But, we got three options. New game, and, new game. I think we're going to go with the third one. That seems like the best option for us. Let's see how we do. So, just as a reminder, since this is such pre-alpha, since this is a pre-alpha version, there's going to be stuff missing. There's going to be stuff that doesn't exist in the game yet. There's going to be stuff that breaks. There's going to be stuff that, might not look great right now, that will probably look a lot better later. For example, this little button pressy thing. I'll probably call it out because, it's pretty close to the letters. I don't know. Maybe that's just me being niggling. But anyway, something is terribly wrong. Great rips in the very fabric of space have appeared, and horrendous creatures are gathering in the festering pockets of evil. Seek out the origins of this mysterious catastrophe. Visit the tavern for possible leads. Cool. So I know this is a roguelike, but I really don't know much else about it. So I guess I can view Gimli's Tavern. Oh, that's great. I think they might switch that around. They might not. I don't know. But, funny anecdote, my dad, whenever he plays any game, come to think of it, he calls himself Gimli. My dad is 6'3". He's not Gimli in the slightest. But anyway, Undead Rising, what do we got? Something's not right with the world, but the dead have been reported, moving about as if they were alive in the dark tomb. Discover if there is any truth to this unnatural rumor. And for a reward, we get Sundry's Plans. So, looking at this, looks like we got various weapons and utility items that we can bring with. Gold, quests, character sheet. Oh, we're kind of adorable. And I wonder if we get armor later on. Well, we definitely get armor later on. I'm curious if it changes the appearance of our equipment. Switching out switching out the swords will probably change the appearances, which would be kind of nice. We also get, total damage, defense, and health. Doesn't look like it's terribly complicated, but the main point of the game is, oh, interesting. This is not complete yet. This is supposed to be like a portal book or a spell book or something. We also have backpack, and yep, this is kind of pointless at the time being. We also have a pair of keys. Can I bring them down here? Nope. Now here's the question. What's the difference between the backpack and the satchel? I don't know. Something I'll probably have to mess around with. But that will probably come later after we've messed around. So, seeing as... well, let's check out the Wizard's Tower before we go anywhere. Never mind, there's nothing at the Wizard's Tower. And what's move? I don't know. Well, travel. Where are we going? We are going to the Dark Tomb. Enter. So, thus far, it's definitely going for the cartoony feel. The loading screen probably needs a fair amount of work, but go figure. But here's the important part of the game. Here is the dungeon, and thus far the tile design looks really nice. The character animations are really nice. They actually have an idle animation for, yawning and stuff. And as you move around, you actually have, line of sight, so the tiles will move up and down to signify, how much you can actually see. That is actually really impressive. Props to them for this. Nothing in there. Ooh, attack animations look really nice, too. So, the one thing I will say is swords indicate enemies are near. When this happens, movement and attacks occur one at a time. Switch active weapons using the shortcut bar. Tap enemies to attack. So I think this game is going to be released... well, currently it's... Can I wait? Is there a wait button? Is it spacebar? Aha! I can do spacebar to wait, which is good because I really don't like moving forward and then getting walloped by somebody. Hey, we get some armor. Potentially. Can I put it on? Backpack. Oh, I guess we just automatically put it on. Not much of anything. Doesn't look like it changed our appearance, but it'll have to do for me. Here's the question. Are those skeletons smart enough to come after me? Ah, yep, they are. Well, let's get out of the way so, you know, we can take them one at a time. Worst thing to happen in a turn-based roguelike is getting surrounded. Pretty much unequivocally. And, you know, kind of rather, you know, take everybody out in a slow, convenient fashion. You can also use WASD to move around. Though, I will say, considering the diagonal style of movement, it is actually a little bit hard to figure out how the controls work, because I can do left and right, which I believe moves me up this plane? I think, but I've moved diagonally in the past, too. Yeah, see, there I moved diagonally instead, which is strange and confusing. I need to finish off this skeleton before the other one gets close enough. Looks like this dungeon is fairly short. It's just a bunch of skeletons, which is nice and appreciated. Okay, so... Oh, probably didn't want to go through there. I kind of want to open these things up. That's gold. Don't really need that. Let's try a potion. Probably could have waited, come to think of it. Oh well, let's just murder-nate the countryside. So, we've got we got a shield. Nope, that's a helmet. And probably best that I finish off the skeleton before I try and loot the firebook, because I believe... There we go, fire magic level up. So, we now have fireball. Remaining 30, level 1 of 50, requires 1 fire thingamabob. Okay, hurl a ball of fire dealing, you know, X amount of damage. So this is kind of the point of the game. You have access to all sorts of spells. Oh, can't pick up that skull. It's gonna take some getting used... What? Okay, so the keyboard controls are a little bit wonky. Right, or A, on the keyboard moves you diagonally, or I guess pure horizontal, whereas down moves you diagonally down, and D moves you up. Yeah, okay, so the controls need a little bit of work, but let's be honest here. Again, as a warning, this is a, you know, pre-alpha version, so don't expect... Oh, hey, we get extra fire shots or something. Yeah! So for killing that guy with the fireball, we actually get more fireball spells. Nice. So, like I was saying, this is a pre-alpha version, so they're probably going to fix all of these problems that I point out as we go along. It's just one of those, is like, if the developer happens to watch, this is something that could be potentially useful for them. Materials can be used to craft items or mixed together to create other materials. Neat. So can I just... Okay. So, if I had fire, orange, yellow, I could make healing potions. More fire using different runes. Okay. Interesting. But ultimately, kind of worthless for what we're doing right now. We've got a couple of healing potions. Wow. Do we have 4 now? We came in here with 2, so I'm not exactly sure where we picked them all up, but I'm okay with that. I guess let's go through the double doors and figure out what we're doing. I usually include just fireballing skeletons along that. Okay, so ideally, use fireball at first to whittle them down, and that way when they get close, you can essentially just, yep. Oh, I see. It gave me a key. That's how this works. I was like, wait, how do I open the chest again? Or at least, how do I retrieve the retrieve the loot? Okay, so there's nothing to mix, nothing to use, so this is good. Okay, so thus far, basic impressions. The artistic design and the creative direction, really good. Controls need a little bit of work, but that will get fixed. The overall mechanics make it a little bit more traditional style, but sky's the limit as far as spells available, which is actually pretty good. I'm not expecting something nearly as advanced as, say, Runers is, but at the same time, did I? No, I didn't. Well, whoops. I didn't miss that skeleton. I just hit him twice. Whatever, I got plenty of fireballs, so it's not that big of a concern. But I'm not expecting the sheer level of, you know, the sheer level of, like, variety that, say, Runers provides, but at the same time, it's more than enough to satisfy me thus far, assuming that we can get a couple more along the way. Also like the fact that the resource mechanic used in terms of, you know, how you cast your spells. Because you not only can use that to create items, ooh, we get a staff. I'll have to equip it later, though. Now, the question is, does the staff... Oh, and we get a battle axe. So, I guess we'll have to decide if we want to be more of a melee-heavy build or a magic build. I'm okay with that. I'm pretty much okay with everything we're doing right now. The map system, it's a little bit small, but it's alright. And while this... No, I do not want to ascend the stairs. I want to go around the stairs. Well, I'm not entirely sure if... This game, I assume this game is going to be ported for mobile. It seems like the sort of thing that would actually would translate well to that platform. I was going to mention this, they're making a Mac version too. So actually, they have a Mac version available for press if, you know, other members of the press would like to try this game out. And you specifically handle Mac games, well, I guess we'll, well, missed there. I'll just fireball him anyway. So, ooh, better shield. It's probably a good time for me to mess with my equipment. So, let's go in here. Okay. I do kind of wish that the things would hover over instead. So, equipped, we've got Boots of Protection, which gives us a fair amount of defense. Okay. It's slightly less defense to put these boots on, but we get an extra action every 13 turns. Next up, we've got this shield, which actually looks better than the one we've got equipped, but in reality is worse. Kind of weird about that. Anyway. So we got a terrestrial staff, but since we don't have any fire spells, it's actually kind of worthless. Because apparently the staff stats are based off of what items you have in the belt. And that could be based on the sword we have in our belt, or it could be based on other stuff. Anyway, better than that, though. Or better than the sword we've got equipped. We have this battle axe. And you know what? I'm going to pull out a staff just in case. But this battle axe does twice as much damage, bonus experience per kill. Ooh. And, okay, and the stats do change based on what's in the belt. I'm going to pull out the sword anyway, just in case. And the staff. I really don't know. Plus, okay, so by having this staff, we get extra... Oh. No, we don't want these staves. Because, okay, that earth staff, having these staves here actually kills our total damage. So if we're going to be going like pure caster, I'll have to worry about it, or worry about it a little bit. So is there like encumbrance? Okay, or maybe it's just based on what I had equipped. So, okay, never mind. I can have the staves in my belt. It doesn't actually affect my stats. There's some amount of like the minus fist plus water type deal. I'll have to figure that out later, but as it stands, it's no big deal. Because now we got an axe, we can pretty much churn through most of the skeletons. Unless, whoop, that was a mistake. Oh well, come on, wacky. Yep, there we go. So realistically, we do enough damage to insta-kill pretty much any skeleton. We're not so great on the fire spells, but that's okay. And ideally, I'd like to get a fire staff along the way, or, you know, a water or a terrestrial spell just to mix things up a little bit. But then again, I'm not even sure if those are in the game yet. So, who knows? Let's just go around. Did I already open up that chest? I don't know. Doesn't matter. This is the end of the line for here. But I like how the tiles, you know, come and go. This is probably the coolest way I've ever seen a game handle line of sight. Like, it gets a little bit visually distracting, but at the same time, it's a turn-based game, so who cares? But, yeah, no, I am floored with how nicely this handles. Also, oh, it's not exactly a secret passage, it just loops around behind that table, which is why I never saw this direction before. I'll just add a couple of completely worthless barrels to us. Doesn't matter that much. Also really like the tile design, beyond the fact that they slide in and out. They're also just flat out nice looking. Which is honestly pretty cool. I'm just going to fireball all of these. Actually, I mean, realistically, that becomes a little bit unnecessary, just considering, you know, the fact that our axe can just insta-give anything that comes close to us, at least as far as, like, regular skeletons go. but maybe we'll run across a harder enemy where actual tactics matter. Well, I mean, sometimes the fireballs will actually kill them ahead of time. For some reason, sometimes it does a burning effect, but it doesn't seem consistent. Like, it's not always... Yeah, okay. So it's a chance to burn instead of a, like, guaranteed burn. Hey, it's a wand. I didn't expect to actually find a wand. I figured the only weapons we'd run into that were magic related would be staves. Turns out I'm incorrect there. You know, we're getting plenty of fireball charges, which is good, because that means I can cast as many as I want. But yeah, as I was saying, the tile design is nice. You know, some of these have like skulls on them, some of them have dioces. The doors, the arches, they're all very... They're very... I mean, they're essentially hand-painted, but they're hand-painted in a very... It feels almost three-dimensional. Well, it feels very three-dimensional, and that's largely because they got the perspective pretty much down pat. Let's just wait a second. Murder this guy. Hey, we got up to level 2. I wonder what that ends up meaning. I don't know. It'd be really cool if this game actually had like a built-in talent system, but I have no confirmation of that one way or another. I'll have to look into it, and honestly, with luck, the developer might even pop by to answer some questions as we go along. Either that or I'll come back as Actually, I'll probably just come back as the game develops and find some of these things out by my own research, and really, by that I mean I'll just ask the developers, and so, you know, for episode 2 of this kind of long development stream, you know, how the game develops, then I'll have more information as we go along. Either that, or just the developers will put out the public information and we can read it. I don't know, but either way, thus far, assuming this game gets kickstarted, and I'm kind of hoping it does, I'm hoping it does. I hope a lot of games with this level of, like, caliber get kickstarted, because, I don't know, they're just nice looking. This one is nice looking, and it plays fairly well. Plays better than a lot of roguelikes I've played recently. And I'll admit, I'm leery of a lot of, like, turn-based roguelikes, because it's very easy to make a very boring turn-based roguelike, you know, just move and hit. But having the spell and equipment system in this game, at the very least, gives this game a large amount of replayability and, you know, desire to make it further along in the game. I also think that you, as you go along, can develop that town, which makes this kind of similar to Sproggywood in a lot of ways, but I think it might be a little bit more... like... It might actually have more of an effect on the game as opposed to being cosmetic. I don't know. Then again, in Sproggywood, it might actually have an effect too. Uh-oh. That looks like a boss skeleton. Yep, superior skeleton. Oh, that's why I have all of these freaking fireballs. He will not survive. Oh, that was easy. It's true, the undead were walking about as if they were alive. I'm not sure what that means for us, but it can't be good. And we get a bunch of rare loot, which, I mean, realistically, a lot of it's just going to have basic stat changes. But even then, I like the fact that the equipment in this game actually has some amount of random generation attached to it, because, you know what? I grew up playing World of Warcraft. Or I guess grew up is not exactly the right word I'd like to use here, but, you know, there is actually something to be said about a rewarding loot treadmill. So, complete dungeon, forever seal the Dark Tomb, and return to your tower? Yes! Oh, that's our wizard tower. Okay, that makes a fair amount of sense. Which would explain why we're right next to the tavern. Okay, so let's go to the tavern, view, and complete the quest, which we get... Right, Sundry's plans, which probably means we get to build a shop out in town. So let's complete. New structure available, Sundry's. Sell some of that loot you found by tapping on an open space and building a vendor. So, I guess there's no real reason to do anything else. We got more than enough cash, so let's build a Sundry's. Great job! You've mastered the basics. Tap the vendor to unload your extra equipment. It's definitely being built for mobile as well. Oh, there's even like a overall world map that we're going to be able to expand to or explore. Interesting. Anyway, be sure to always stop by the tavern for current happenings around the world. So, first, let's check out the shop. We can demolish it, move to it, or shop. Looks like they've got a lot of different spell runes that we can use. I don't know if they're going to teach us any new spells, but they could be interesting. So there's buy and sell. This interface is probably going to change a little bit. It looks kind of bare bones right now, but I mean, I don't know. I'm making no promises. The developers can do that. But overall, it looks interesting. I wonder why they have multiples of the same rune taking up multiple spots. It feels odd. Also, there's a level on the sundries. You can actually level up stores as you go along. That's potentially kind of cool. So we've got 2 keys left. Might as well buy a couple extra. There's no reason why not to. They stack on top of each other and they're pretty cheap. Next up, let's see. I like the fact that they actually will, you know, compare your stuff, and you can actually modify your equipment in the shop without having to worry about accidentally selling stuff. So this shield is flat out better than this one. Yep. And this one is worse. Okay, what about hats? This one's better than that one. Glad that that hat actually doesn't show. That's a good tunic. What about this ring? So this is a ring of detection. Defense to detect hidden 22% versus Ring of Air, which increases our damage and our defense. Both are tempting. I'm just not sure what... nope, that's not going to be worth it. Okay, so as far as basic stuff that we've got sitting around in your inventory, everything can be sold. So let's switch back to the shop screen. And can I... kind of hoping I could... Maybe I can do like shift click? Nope. Can I do shift right click? Nope, I gotta drag it. Not the end of the world. Let's just get rid of everything in our inventory and sell, sell, sell. Actually, are any of these fire-based? Nope, that's earth-based. That's also earth-based, but that's a very good... Oh, wands actually cast a spell instead of adjust a spell. That's good to know. I'm actually probably going to keep the wands around. They are worth a fair amount of money, though. I don't know. Interesting question. Now, we still have the spell book, and currently we only know... Oh, I see. We can drag it down. So realistically, we could get more runes as we go along here, but I don't think that's going to matter at all, because unless we get an actual spell book, we're not going to be able to cast any of the spells. Also, let's sell the sword. It's not as good. And the staff. We'll get better stuff. Realistically, also, just that axe is pretty damn powerful. So, close that. Go back to the Wizard's Tower. Nothing can be done there. Can I build any other structures? The answer is no. I already have a sundries. So in that case, we can view, and... Oh, wow. We actually have a number of quests based on different, based on different things. So we've got Kellum the Immortal, which will give us the armory. Vex the Diabolic, which gives us the blacksmith. I think armory and blacksmith are about the same thing. Oh. Amona the Abominable, which gives us Forge Stone plans, which lets us level up our equipment. Oh, it even tells us what they are. So blacksmith, weapon vendor. Armory, armor vendor. Oh, go figure. And Mitric the Dastardly, back in the Dark Tomb, and he's got cauldron plans. So there's actually a fair amount of stuff. Yes, there's repetition, but at the very least, this game does not seem to be lacking in content. It also looks like this game has a fair amount of roguelite type mechanics, where there's actually like a passive level of progression outside of the dungeons, which is nice. I especially like it when there's a fair amount of depth to it. I like Rogue Legacy, but the problem I always ended up with Rogue Legacy was sheerly... It was just a basic stat progression. This one seems to unlock more doors for you, which potentially is kind of cool. So anyway, we've got 4 missions available to us, and you know what? Well, this is going to be an impressions video. I think we're going to continue on and actually do a couple more episodes to cover the rest of the dungeons, just because I am enjoying this game and would like to continue with it. So, I guess I'll handle the rest of the dungeons for episode 2, 3, and 4, or however long they take. I'll probably be a little bit faster about my dungeon clearing, especially with that OP axe that I've been running around with. So, overall impressions. Pretty, well animated, well designed thus far. Need some tweaks in terms of like UI, shop interfaces, and stuff like that, but honestly, this is pre-alpha, go figure. And for the progress they have on a pre-alpha game, mind you, I didn't run into a single bug this entire way through, which is very encouraging. But, you know, for the progress that they have thus far, and the fact that it's just being kickstarted, I would say that this is a very promising project. And usually I shy away from Kickstarters personally because I don't like gambling with my money, but this one seems like a pretty safe bet. So, if you want to kickstart it, I've left a link down below in the description where you can go check that out, or if you just want to support them in a less monetary way, you can vote for them on Greenlight so this game actually goes on Steam, because I think it fits the bill perfectly. And I guess with that, if you liked this impressions video in any way, shape, or form, please leave me a like. It helps me and the developers in a lot of ways. If you want to discuss anything, ask any questions, either, leave a comment below, send me a tweet, send me an email, whatever. All that stuff is available to you, and if you leave a question, I will try and get it answered to the best of my abilities. Because, you know what? I would very much like to figure out some of these things myself. And if you want to see more impressions videos, if you want to see more Kickstarter type videos, leave a comment below to tell me to cover something that you would like to see covered, or, if you just want to see more of what I do, subscribe, because I'm going to be doing a lot more of everything, because, well, I enjoy this kind of thing. So, with that, I will see you guys on my next review, my next Let's Play, my next whatever you want to watch. Or neither, because realistically this is about, Rogue Wizards, and it's a nice game, so I enjoy it, and if you like roguelikes, you'll enjoy this one too. I've been Wanderbot trying out Rogue Wizards, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.